Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be my TV and movie wrap up for January and February. So I've only watched 3 things in the last 2 months. I wasn't really in the mood to watch a lot and I kind of just ended up rewatching a couple of things. I was gonna wait until March and April to just do one big TV and movie wrap up and wait until I had more that I had watched, but I kind of want to talk about 2 things desperately, so I just thought I would go ahead and talk about everything now. I only watched 1 TV show and 2 movies in the last 2 months. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump straight in. So the TV show that I watched was A Discovery of Witches. So I rewatched season 1. Season 3 was coming out at the beginning of January, so I decided to rewatch season 1 and 2. So I rewatched season 1, which I loved. It's been a while since I've rewatched season 1, so I forgot just how slow the story was compared to season 2. I feel like season 1 was a little slow, but in the perfect way. It wasn't rushed. I feel like it was paced really, really well. I forgot how perfect season 1 was. I loved the acting and the sets and the directing and cinematography and the music. I just love everything about season 1. I'm just obsessed with the show and I'm really glad I rewatched season 1. Then I obviously rewatched season 2. I actually don't know which season I love the most, to be honest, but I love season 2. This one was definitely a little bit more action-packed and dramatic. I loved all of the historical elements and just the sets, the costumes, everything about it was just beautiful. I also love seeing all of the other characters have a little bit more storyline. That was really nice. All of Diana's magic stuff, all of her achievements and all of the levels that she would achieve with her magic always made me so emotional, just to see her become the amazing witch that she is. I love that about season 2. It's so nice to see all of that. But yeah, love season 1, love season 2. Now we get on to season 3. Season 3 was an emotional roller coaster for me. This is the last season of the entire show. This was it for the show. Season 3 was fantastic and gripping and entertaining, but definitely too short. I feel like I need to rewatch season 3 to have a very solid idea of how I feel about it, because I was just so caught up in it ending, and I feel like maybe there are things that I missed, or I just wasn't taking my time with it. I just sped through it because I wanted to just witness the end and have it all be done. A lot was going on, and I think that was my issue with season 3, is just so much was going on and so many little storylines, and it just felt kind of overwhelming. And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they did plan to make a 4th season, but they weren't able to, and so they just decided to squish everything into season 3, which makes sense. And I feel like they did do a good job with everything, and they included a lot of the important things that I do remember from the book. But again, it's been years since I've read the book, so I don't fully remember everything. I can't really remember what they changed and what they haven't changed. I didn't remember, I'm reading my notes in my TV and movie journal. I didn't remember Benjamin or Fernando and Hugh. I don't remember them from the books. So I love how they introduced them, because I did not remember, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe that makes sense. But still wasn't ringing any bells for me. I loved Toby Regno as Jack. He was perfect. I loved him. I mean, I love him from Reign. It's one of my favorite TV shows, and he was just fantastic as Jack. And I loved that whole storyline. I cried anytime that certain people were mentioned. I don't really want to spoil anything, but there were people from Diana and Matthew's past that anytime they were mentioned, I cried. I also really loved the whole birthing scene. That was really well done. I really liked that. I personally wish there was a little bit more domestic moments between Matthew and Diana. I wish they just had a couple of more scenes, just the two of them together being like cute and happy. I also do wish there was a little bit more action surrounding Diana and her magic. It felt a little underwhelming with how she has been built up as this witch who will save all of the creatures or destroy them. I feel like we didn't really get to see that. We saw it a little bit in season 2 with like Cora, which I wish Cora would have been in season 3. Like I wish there was more of a like heavy, intense magic aspect. It was just very basic and easy. And I don't know if that was just like a cop out to them not wanting to do like CGI and special effects, but I was definitely disappointed with the lack of magical action. I also like understand Matthew's storyline going to New Orleans was very important, but I kind of found it boring. Again, all of the sets, outfits, costumes, the directing, cinematography, that was beautiful, well done. I loved all of that. I feel like that is one thing that this show nails is like the atmosphere. I'm reading my notes and I don't really want to spoil you guys. Like I don't want to accidentally say something. But I loved any time Fernando and Sarah had conversations about their loved ones and loss. That made me cry. And then the thing that Matthew did for Fernando and Hugh, I loved that at the end. That was just like so beautiful and heartwarming. It did feel rushed a little bit, but again, I feel like they did as best as they could. There is so much that happens in the third book. Loved the final shot of the show. I will say that final shot was extraordinary, and I love what they did with that. Whole family was together, dancing, visiting, and then you have Matthew narrating exactly what he said in the first season. And I loved that. It made me so emotional. It just became like this full circle moment. I love season 3 and it was good. And it gave me the ending that I wanted and needed. And it wrapped everything up as best as it could. I remember feeling so nervous and scared when the books were going to become a TV show. And I was nervous when they started casting. And I was kind of unsure about the casting, but like I was excited. And I can't believe like it's now over and this is going to be, well, it is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And I don't get sick of rewatching it. A huge congrats to the cast and crew of Discovery Witches. Season 3 was fantastic. And overall, I just love this show so much. Thank you so much for this amazing TV show. Now on to movies. So the first movie I watched was Shrek. This was a rewatch for me. I watched this with my friends. I actually can't remember the last time I had watched Shrek. It was actually really nice to rewatch it, and I forgot like all of the jokes and like the puns. It's just a really fun, goofy movie, and I loved rewatching it. The last movie I watched, which is my current obsession. I am obsessed with this movie, and that is Through My Window. This is on Netflix, and it is technically a Spanish movie. I think you say it a través de mi ventana. De mi ventana, Tana. I'm totally butchering that. But it is a Spanish movie. I first watched it in English, and I liked it enough to watch it a total of 6 times. I watched it 3 times in English and then 3 times in Spanish. I actually vlogged the first time I watched this movie, so I will link that video down below if you want to know my initial thoughts on the movie. This is also an adaptation of a Wattpad book, which I did read back in January, and I talked about it in my January wrap-up, so I will leave that video down below if you want to know my thoughts on the book. I personally love the movie more, but the book was decent. It wasn't like a horrible book. I did enjoy it. I found it very addicting, but I feel more connected to the movie. IMDb definitely has like a different description of like what I would say, but I feel like my description would be way too long. So on IMDb, it just says Raquel's longtime crush on her next door neighbor turns into something more when he starts developing feelings for her despite his family's objections. This movie like isn't the best. It's not amazing, but I loved it. I loved the actors. I thought they had a lot of chemistry. I will say like I didn't feel it that much when I first watched it, but when I rewatched it in Spanish, I totally felt their chemistry. Like, it just felt more authentic. Obviously, it helped that I like rewatched it in the actual language that it was made in. I kind of just like want to keep rewatching it over and over again. Like, I'm that obsessed. Also, we are getting 2 more movies and I'm so excited. I am so excited. I can't wait to just be a part of like this fandom as they're filming the next 2, and with like all of the press and on-set photos and everything. Like, I'm so excited to be a fan while they film the next 2. I feel like all of the acting was pretty good. Like, it didn't feel super cringy or awkward or uncomfortable. Like, maybe at first once you were like getting into the story, but then I don't know, I feel like they were all pretty good actors and I don't have any complaint like acting wise. You definitely could feel the emotions of all the actors, and I think they all did a really good job. When Aries is talking to Raquel in her bedroom about a story, he like tells her a story. His acting in there was fantastic. And also the scene where Aries is in the office with his brother and his dad. Great acting from everybody in that scene. And then also very good acting at the like office party that they had. I don't know, there was just like a lot of good acting throughout this whole movie. They all gave very solid performances. I feel like my only issues with this movie is that there's just not much of a storyline, or like not much happens, and I feel like you don't really get to see Raquel and Aries actually like fall in love and like have meaningful conversations. It often felt like their relationship was just surrounding sex. I guess maybe because Raquel is like obsessed with him, so she knows everything about him, that it would kind of be pointless for them to like get to know each other. The sex scenes in here were very good, but like out there. Like, they were definitely strange. And I'm actually surprised with how much sex there was in this movie. I didn't really expect them to actually do much, even though the book is pretty smutty and like the book has a lot of sex scenes. I don't know if I said this, but the first half of the movie follows the book pretty well. And then like the second half kind of just goes on its own and it doesn't necessarily follow the book, which I did find was weird, but I feel like it kind of makes sense. But I also am just curious where the next 2 movies are going to go. The next 2 movies are supposed to mainly follow Raquel and Aries, and then all of the other characters will still have like small subplots. I also have not read the next 2 books. I don't think they are translated into English yet. So I don't really know if they're going to pull anything from the next 2 books or they're just going to write something new or have like new-ish material. I also really love the music in the movie. I thought it fit really well. I also really like the directing and the cinematography, and the whole like atmosphere of the movie was really good. I like how it was kind of like moody but also like very light and fun. There's just something about this movie that I'm like obsessed with. I think it's like the 2 main actors. I just think they have such a great friendship like off screen that you can just like tell that they like really get along and that they're like best friends. I feel like my favorite scene is probably like the forest scene. I don't know why, but I really like that scene. And then I also really like the library scene. That was really nice. I don't know, I liked how that was shot too. It was really, really nice. I genuinely really loved this movie, and I am definitely going to be talking about it for a very long time. I'm also going to be talking about the sequels, so don't be surprised if you see a trailer reaction from me at some point in the future. I was just thinking about this the other day, how After is ending. The last movie is coming out this summer and fall, and I was wondering like what franchise I would move on to next, or like what books they would make into a movie or TV show that I would become obsessed with again. And I found that Through My Window is now going to be like my new After, I guess. It's the next franchise, next series that I'm moving on to. Anyways, I love Through My Window. I feel like I'm just going to keep repeating that because I genuinely just loved it, and I'm going to keep rewatching it, and I'm probably going to keep talking about it like all year. Let me know if you've seen Through My Window and what your thoughts are on it. Let me know if you've also read the book. How do you feel about the book? But that is it for my TV and movie wrap up. I'm sorry that I didn't really talk about a lot of things. I mainly just really wanted to dedicate a lot of time to talking about A Discovery of Witches and Through My Window. Let me know what you've been watching recently, and if you have any recommendations for me, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!